I have to continue to be who I am, which is a giver. I have to continue to work with clients that I know are willing to do the work so that the giving bears fruit. And I have to recognize that there's still going to be takers out there, but that givers really do finish first. What if I told you that being a giver can either make you the most successful person in the world or leave you dead last? I'm going to talk about givers versus takers today. Been doing a lot of soul searching lately because I put myself in a giver category. I've been told that by many people that I give and I give and I give. And I think that's just who I am. And I've been questioning lately, do givers finish last? Kind of almost like nice guys finish last. And so it brought me back to thinking about a book that I read. Honestly, it was back in 2018, I think. I read it. It was a book by Adam M. Grant called Give and Take Why Helping Others Drives Our Success. And he categorizes people in three different types: givers, matchmakers, and takers. And today we're going to talk mostly about givers and takers because I'm going to keep it very real. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about my experience over the last year. I've been working on many projects and I've had the opportunity to work with different people on projects and with different companies. I've been investing in courses on certain areas of business that have nothing to do with my expertise, but have to do with building my brand online and things like that. Things that I haven't been able to do on my own. And I've really worked with companies and leaned into them to kind of bridge that gap. And so I'm going to give you some examples of takers that I've met. And I'm only bringing this up mostly because I think it's really important for people to understand that it really makes a difference who you decide to show up as every day at work. Are you a giver? Are you a taker? Because for me, I worked in client services there was a stint in my career, two stints in my career where I worked in client services for two very large technology companies. And one thing that became very, very obvious to me working in that type of role was that sales is a big part of the business, and I'm not knocking sales because I think it's obviously an important piece, but my experience has been sales has been so much better than delivery and being on the delivery side of the business, and so aligning the expectations with what you're delivering. And I think that's where I kind of get a little bit, I don't know, I think my soul gets tugged on when it comes to selling. I always underpromise and overdeliver. I work with clients that I just give what I need to give for the company to be successful because I don't work with clients that I don't think I can have success with. And so in doing that, I choose my clients very carefully and I choose the people that I give to very carefully because it can be very draining being a giver. But I think it's still really important to talk about this because I want to give you some examples that I think are important to say out loud. And I feel like it might be a little taboo. I'm on LinkedIn quite a bit because I have a great network there. I've been in the industry for a long time and I watch a lot on LinkedIn and there's a lot of selling on LinkedIn. Sell, 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 sell. If you look at, my LinkedIn or my Instagram or even my YouTube channel, I'm really giving, giving, giving. I'm not asking for a sale because for me, a big part of having these social media channels is to share who I am because it's so noisy out there. You're not going to see and know who I am by looking at my LinkedIn. Yes, you'll see that I have experience, but you're not going to know how I think. You're not going to understand the core of what I believe in by looking at just my Instagram or my LinkedIn. You're going to only see that through my YouTube and hearing how I speak and what I believe in and really putting it out there. So that's why I built this YouTube channel and that's why I built this podcast because I want to be able to have honest conversations about these things and I want to be able to say the things that I truly believe because I feel like when I don't, I get a little bit stuck inside. And I know you probably can relate to that. When you're not staying true to who you are, you can feel stuck. You feel like you're in the rat race and you honestly kind of feel sort of disconnected from your flow. And so I'm going to be very open with you today. I've had some pretty negative experiences buying courses online. And I've had some positive experiences. So I'm going to give you the good and I'm going to give you the bad. I'm not going to just talk about the bad. And I'm not going to name names with the negative experiences because I'm not here to throw anyone under the bus, but I want to share it because I think it's important because I'm guessing if it's happened to me, it's happened to others. And so I'll give you one experience. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but this person is a pretty big influencer. They do a lot of YouTube content. The content is educational. It gives you just enough so you feel like, wow, this is possible. It makes sense. It's logical. You can tell this person puts a lot of time and effort into sharing this detail. But and I always thought I was actually recommended to follow this person because the person that recommended it said, "Oh my gosh, this person gives so much content. They give so much information, and that's what I love about them." And I said, "Okay, well, I like that too. So let me see." So I started following, and then I decided to buy a course from this person. And the course wasn't crazy expensive. I've spent way more money on courses, but it was an investment for me. And I was learning a new skill set. And you know, I literally bought the course and I did the course in one day. It took me 8 hours. I went, module to module, module, module. That's how I am. I want to learn, I'm going to learn. So I took the course. It was my Sunday. I remember I was just bam, 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 taking notes. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. And then I started implementing on Monday and literally had this thing fully implemented. Well, that sounds crazy, but I did that. So the course was good. It was good enough to help me implement. It was delivered. And so that part I was like, okay, I think this was worth the investment. And then I really wanted to get feedback on what I implemented. So I was getting emails being encouraged, of course, follow up, please join my community. And so I joined the community. I paid money. It wasn't a monthly, it was just a flat fee. And I thought, okay, this is how much I spent on the course, but it's worth it because now this expert who's given me advice is going to be able to give me feedback on what I've implemented, which is amazing, right? Whether it's them or their team, I want to make sure that I am on the right track. And so I joined this community and I posted what I created, screenshots, and I asked very clear questions. And I got feedback from the community, which was great. There was like 3 or 4 people like, "Oh, this is beautiful. I love this. I would do this. I would do that." And I love feedback. So I said, "That's great. Thank you so much." But not from the actual expert or their team. No one commented. So I kept kind of bringing it up to the top. Could I please, I messaged the admin directly. Would you please be so kind as to provide feedback on this? It wasn't as though I was asking them to train me. I was doing the work. I had followed the instructions. I had built it. I just needed feedback on am I on track? Am I off track? And it was crickets. No answer, no answer, no answer. And I was pretty discouraged because I thought I really joined this community not just to talk to people in the community. The community is great, but part of the sales from this expert was I'm going to be there answering your questions and I'll be able to help you. Um, and so I didn't get that. And that was really disappointing to me. And so I thought, okay, I'm not a confrontational person. So I actually decided to DM this person on LinkedIn. I mean, I'm sorry, on Instagram. Just DM'd him. It took me a little bit of courage because I'm not really that way. And I didn't do it in a complaining way. It was more of like, so nice to meet you. I loved your course. I posted in your community. I'd really love your feedback on what I built. I was wondering if you could take a moment to provide some feedback. And there was crickets. They never even responded. So for me, this is sort of an example of a taker that kind of hides as a giver, but in the end, they don't deliver. And again, I wasn't expecting someone to hold my hand. I did the work. I went through the complete course. I built it completely from scratch, what I took the course on. I just wanted feedback. It probably would have taken this person 5 minutes, or they could have instructed someone from their team because they have moderators to provide feedback. Nothing. I got no feedback at all. And so for me, this leaves a bad taste in my mouth. And as a person who's created a course that I'm really, really proud of, I know that there's people that probably won't buy my course because they think, well, maybe it'll be the same thing. I won't get what I thought I was going to get. And that bothers me. It bothers me because I know that that's out there. And I'm not just picking on course creators because obviously there's some great courses and this person's course was really, really good. good enough for me. I was able to implement. It's just the community that I paid for didn't deliver. And to me, that was disappointing. It felt like more of an upsell than I'm selling you something that you're going to get results from. So I didn't feel the community was a good investment at all. And maybe that's why it's a one time fee because I wouldn't have renewed a monthly based on that experience. And maybe they figured out that just get their money and then that's okay. Maybe that's their goal. No judgment. But to me, I feel like people should give and deliver on what they're promising. And especially when people are doing the work, because I'm sure you've had clients or partners or people or in your personal life that you've given to, whether it's given them advice and then spending a lot of time with them, talking them down off a cliff, talking with them about something they could do in their business, providing an expertise, taking time and not exchanging money and just thinking, I really want to help this person. And then they haven't done it or they haven't taken action. And so that can be very draining for givers. And I'm just going to say that because I've been in those situations where my giving has drained me because I've picked the wrong people on the other side of the giving. They're not necessarily ready to make the changes or to do the work that they need to do to benefit from my giving. But when they do, it's very fulfilling to be a giver. When you match with the right person, being a giver is the most beautiful thing. It's actually the most selfish thing I do, if I'm being honest, is give because I feel so good about it. I feel so in my flow. I feel so excited. And when I see that person implement, it makes my heart sing. And so that's a really good example of what I'm seeing a lot on LinkedIn and Instagram, and I'm guessing other channels, is a whole lot of giving. But then when you decide because you trust that person, you start building a rapport with them and you're watching them. And I kind of binge watch people that I want to purchase things from. That's why this channel is so great because I know how impactful it is because I want to purchase from people that I trust and I binge watch them. Do they have the expertise? Am I going to get what I need if I know that I'm going to be buying something from them? Because that's the sales cycle now. It's about the people, right? And so I would say that was a 50% success rate. The course was amazing, but the community was not. And I think that's the sad part because I think this person maybe doesn't know this is happening, maybe doesn't realize the market left, but it definitely left a big mark on me. I want to talk a little bit about an example of some people, some positive giving that I've done. I've worked with brands that are startups because I have a heart for startups and they reach out to me. There's one brand that's actually some college kids that's starting a skincare brand and they're just awesome. And I met with them over the summer. We had 2 calls and they implemented everything I told them to implement. I mean, I basically gave them advice and followed up with an email of details and they started taking action. And so even though it took a couple of hours of my time to do some Loom videos, to help them with some gross margin, projections and do some things for them that I know they're going to make a big difference and help educate them on, different channels, how to expand, what they should do for their brand, what they should do while they're in college, not to take their foot off the gas. It filled me up because what we talked about, they implemented. I mean, I could see it. I could see it on Instagram. They were sending me feedback about what was happening with some of the advice that I'd given them. And so that's a great example of giving. And I didn't expect anything in return. But what I got in return was them taking action and moving their business forward. And that's happened with a couple of other startups as well. Work with another startup and we met and she put together, basically, I gave her a project to do. And we met the next week and she presented the project. So she did it, she took action. And then I gave her some feedback and then she went back and took action again. And so again, giving without any expectation. My only expectation is that they're going to receive value and they're going to take action in their business. And so, I just kind of wanted to share that with you, that point of view. But I also want to talk about a very positive example of a giver of something in my business, something that was very, very positive that is continuing to bear fruit for me. It was a very significant investment I made with a company, and the sales cycle was really positive, but I was very nervous to make the investment because I had had some that didn't bear fruit, and this was bigger than most. And I ended up saying, yes, I'm going to do this. And I dug in And I'll just tell you that the course is phenomenal, is a course, and then also coaching, and then also monthly meetings. And I'm not going to bring names up because I don't think it's necessary, but I'll just say this. It's something that helps me with my YouTube. And it's what's gotten me really comfortable doing this and given me some of the frameworks to do this within. And then, the leader, the owner of this um, course and program has reached out to me on multiple times just to give me encouragement on my Instagram. And then the coach who I'm currently not working with because that portion of my program has expired still reaches out to me to see how am I doing? Is there anything he can do to support me? And I will just tell you that that was the best investment I could have made because not only did they deliver, but they continue to deliver and they continue to see that I'm putting the effort in, that I'm building this, that I really believe in what I do, and that I want to build something that has impact and that I'm passionate about. And I want to help entrepreneurs. And they believe in me. And then they put that back into me by continuously following up. And it feels very, very, very good. And I'm guessing for them, it feels very good too, because I'm guessing for them, they are also thinking, wow, this is a person that I want to continue to invest in because she's putting in the time, she shows up, and I'm doing the things. I'm doing the at bats. I'm getting the practice and I'm doing what I need to do, even on the days when it's tough, right? So I just want to share that with you because there are very positive examples. And I would say that even though there was money exchanged, I would say that they delivered. I would say that they continue to deliver. And I would say that this has been a very positive experience of making an investment with the right people. And in this case, I also binged on podcasts from the owner of this. I actually listened probably for 4 or 5 hours to a bunch of podcasts because I wanted to hear what he believes in, what he thinks. Is this a person that I want to invest in? Because it was a big investment for me. And is this a person that I really believe is doing things in a way that he's going to deliver on what he promises? And so I did my research as well, and it worked out. So I gave you an example of one where I did my research and it didn't work out. And then I am giving you an example of one where I did my research and it did work out. And I just want to share that with you because I think, the thing that's probably the hardest to talk about is LinkedIn, because I'm on there every day because it's a part of my business and it's how I network. And it just feels very, very salesy, and it feels sometimes very inauthentic. And there are some people that I follow that I feel are not. They're very authentic and they're very, very much about giving. And it's easy to get caught up in that and say, well, if that's what it takes, but it doesn't feel right for me to be that person. I have to continue to be who I am, which is a giver. I have to continue to work with clients that I know are willing to do the work so that the giving bears fruit. And I have to recognize that there's still going to be takers out there, but that givers really do finish first. Actually, there's some really exciting like information that I think I'll share with you because I think, the whole, nice guys finish last or maybe givers finish last. I'll say this, that his research was actually this. So this book that I read by Adam Grant, his research is based on interviews with 30,000 people across a variety of industries and cultures. And he says that a successful giver says, I don't have to say yes all the time. I'll give when I have the greatest impact, and I won't let it interfere with my productivity. So it's about having balance when giving. So giving for impact, but knowing that it's not going to take you off course from being productive because we all have to make a living and we understand that. But I absolutely love that. And he quotes Samuel Johnson in the book, and it's honestly very beautiful. A true measure of a man is how he treats someone who can do absolutely no good, who do him no good, meaning there's nothing for me to gain. And I think, For me, the lesson for me is not to move to the taker side because that's where business happens. It's to stay where I am, stay true to who I am, work with people that I know are in alignment with the fact that I'll give and I will give them, I will definitely do everything I can to make sure their business is successful and that they're willing to do the work to help create that success. Because sometimes when you're a giver, you can attract takers. You can attract people that have you ever met someone and you know that every time they call you or text you, it's always to ask for something? I'm sure that someone's nodding their head right now because I have those people. Every time they text me, I go, okay, what do they want? Because I know they want something because they never text me unless they want something. And sometimes I'm pleasantly surprised. It's just to say hello, but usually it's because they want something. And I've had that. I've had many people from my industry that, they've asked me to jump on calls for them to talk about their products and to help them, with reference checks and things that I believe in and things that I'm happy to help with. But they're not necessarily the people that reach out and just kind of say, "Hey, is there anything I can help you with?" Right? Is there anything that I can help you with? They're more of the taker. They're more of the what can this person can give me this and that helps me move forward, but they're not necessarily a giver. And, that's a shame, but that's the reality of the world. And so this is not about shaming givers and it's not about shaming sales. It's about giving and delivering. It's about selling and delivering. It's about delivering on the promise, whatever that is. They wouldn't have client services if companies delivered because my experience with client services, and I'm sure I'm going to get some comments here, but I'm just going to say most of the time, client services is another extension of the sales team and it's the post delivery, it's the post sale and into the delivery model. And now you're all upselling and cross selling. But many of the businesses I've been in, it's been more about saving the customer because the sale has not aligned with the expectations. And in the world that we have now where everyone's selling something, I can't scroll. I mean, I go to my Instagram and I'm just getting bombarded by I start to feel so sad because there's things that I think, oh, I feel like this could help me. But I have to then question, is this going to deliver? Because I'm going to put my money in it. And it breaks my faith when people don't deliver. And I've said this on many of my videos and podcasts. I think that's why consultants get a bad name because many of them don't deliver. And I'm not saying all of them because I've met some great ones, but I'm just going to say, like, I think this is why they don't get the best reputation. I've been on the other side of the business and hired consultants that haven't delivered or that have overpromised and underdelivered. And you can tell that they're just doing it for the money. They're not doing it for the true success of the client because if they were, they would do whatever it takes to make sure the client's successful if the client's doing the work, right? So that's the big if the client's doing the work, they're going to be there to support that client. I'm going to give you another example, personal example, because we're talking about business a lot, but this is also, business is for humans and it's not everything, happens just in business. But my daughter worked with a coach in an academy. She plays in college now. She plays soccer. And she's had some coaches, some amazing coaches. And then she's had a few that weren't the strongest leaders, mentors, and coaches. And she had one that changed her life, changed our family's life because came into our life. He came into our life at a time when she needed leadership and she needed someone to over deliver for her. And so it was a really tough time. And I looked this coach up. I kept hearing all about this coach. And I literally kept hearing how wonderful he is and how he transforms. And he's just a great coach. I kept hearing about what a great coach he was, but he's so much more than that. I emailed him and I said, "Hey, I think my daughter's going to quit the sport. But before she does, I'd love for her to see if can she try out. She wants to try out for your academy." And I really felt like it was going to be the beginning or the end for her. I felt she was so crushed by so many things. She had put in so much work. She's the kid that went to skills clinics 3, 5 times a week. She's the kid that missed birthday parties because she had a game or she needed to practice. She's the kid that made sacrifices for her sport because she truly believes she was good at it. She is good at it, and she also was raised by someone who said to her constantly, "Your only job in this home is to meet your potential, to meet your God-given potential. That's all I expect of you. I don't expect you to get a job. I expect you to meet your God-given potential, and you are talented." And every coach that's ever coached her said she's coachable and she's gifted, and she is. She's my husband's was a professional athlete, and so she takes a lot after him. And so we went to I sent, this coach an email and said, "Can we come out and try out?" And it's an academy, so he doesn't take everyone. It's really not a club. It's not a club. So they compete, but they compete with um they compete with colleges in their off season. So they basically scrimmage, but this was in high school. So she went out, she tried out, and he said, and she did great. Her confidence was pretty low because of some things that had happened in sport for the year before that. And I'm leaving out some details, but I'm giving you the most important piece. So she went out, she tried out, and she did really well. And he sent me an email and said, "I'm really impressed with your daughter. She's left footed, which only 7% of players are left footed. She's a dominant left foot. I think technically she's a little rusty, but it makes sense because she's in the club environment, and the club environment out here is not very strong. So I'm guessing that's probably where she lost a little bit of her sharpness from playing in California prior. But I'd love to work with her if she'd like to come out." And so my daughter showed up the next day and started training at this academy. And let me tell you, what he charged was a drop in the bucket compared to what clubs charge. But what he gave was gold, was gold. It wasn't just he made her a better technical player. He did that. He's a phenomenal person. It's that he actually helped her become a better person because he made it about not just playing the game, but the psychology of the game and how important it was for her to get her confidence back. He'd say, "Shay," her name's Shay, "If I had you race across the field with all of the players, where do you think you'd come in?" And she said, I don't know, maybe in the middle." And he said, "No, you'd be in my top 5. You're fast. You're really fast." And he reminded her of the things that she had lost sight of because of being in an environment that wasn't a development environment. And so that experience over delivered. But the reason he has a love for what he does is because she also showed up and did the work. They'd have to practice at 5 in the morning. She'd have to get up at 5 in the morning, and we drove an hour, and she would practice for 2 hours. And she showed up 4 days a week, and then we had scrimmages on the weekends, and she showed up. She showed up and she worked hard. And so he over delivered, and he said, "It was my joy and honor to train your daughter." She ended up moving back to California for her last year of high school, to get recruited because the soccer there's a lot of advantages to being in California. Soccer is one of them. And so she got recruited in her first club game back. Her first club game, playing with a team she hadn't played with in 2 years. She got recruited to go play where she plays now at Southern Nazarene University. And that's because she had someone who delivered for her, a giver. Yes, there was money exchanged. We paid him every month. We drove up there. We did whatever it took. But she also gave back. She also did the work. She showed up. She did the work. And so that's a great example of a giver. He's a giver. Yes, he accepts money. It's okay to accept money and be a giver. But he accepts money from people that also give back. And that makes giving feel almost like serving, right? Serving, even though you're exchanging money. And that's someone who not didn't just change my daughter's life, changed our family's life. Because as a mom and someone who deeply cares about my daughter's happiness, I didn't want her to give up on soccer. I didn't If she didn't wanna play because she just, I don't know, grew up and got burnt out, That's fine. But I didn't want her to give up because she had a bad go with some coaches that didn't necessarily have development leadership capabilities, and a team culture and a club culture that was known to not have that. I didn't know that. I just thought she's going to play club and she's going to do great. She came from a club and she was a top player, but it didn't turn out that way. But if she wanted to quit, I wanted her to at least quit while she was on top. Because for me, I always told her, you can quit after you have your best game, but you can't quit after your worst game. Because if you quit after you left it on the field and had a great game, then I know that's really what you want. But if you quit after you have a bad game, then it's just you quitting on yourself. So anyway, I've kind of gone along a, a few different directions here, but this starts with givers and takers. And we all know them and we all love them, whoever they are. But it's really important, I think, in business to be aware of who you are and who you're working with. And I, do think it's important that we have more givers, especially now in this world, more people that are they have the expertise, they want to help brands, they want to help businesses, amazing. But give without expectation, exchange money but over deliver. Make sure that you're doing your part. Let's not make this just a sales economy where it's sell, sell, sell and worry about delivery later. Let's make this an economy of givers, of people that give, because honestly, that's going to make this economy explode. It will explode if people are really thinking, I'm going to give because that's what I want to do. And I'm going to make sure that this person that I've decided to work with, because it's a decision on both sides, on the sales side and on the buyer side. You decide if you're going to go into business. So shame on you if you go in and you sign an agreement with someone, or you decide to work with someone and you don't think you can help them, but you do it anyway just to exchange money. Shame on you. You should only work with people that you believe you could truly help. You should only sell technology that you believe works. You should only deliver anything. You should only sell products. I mean, you should feel and believe in what you do and know that, hey, on the other end of this, if this person does their part, we're going to have success. So I'll leave you with that. It was on my heart. You should buy the book, Adam M. Grant. He wrote it, and it's Give and Take: Why Helping Others Drives Our Success. I'm never going to stop being a giver. And I'm getting better at setting boundaries and understanding where I should give, and where are the places that I know aren't going to affect my overall productivity for myself, because I still have responsibilities. I can't just be pro bono for everyone, and I need to, exchange money, but I also want to make sure that I am giving and that I am helping entrepreneurs and founders transform their business and their lives. And so that's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm doing these videos as well, because I want to share who I truly am and share kind of the things that I see that no one talks about. And hopefully this is relatable to you. And it's not just me. And then if you have a product that is subpar, maybe you're thinking, I need to be better at that. If you have a service and you're not 100% confident in what you're delivering, maybe you're going to review that. If you have a course and that when you look under the hood, it's not what people really are expecting, you should rethink that too. You should only put out products that deliver, and be continuous improvement to make it better and better and better. So I'll leave you on that note. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you soon.